Good evening, good afternoon, everyone. Um, Let me get everything set, but I want to read a history in our time. Um, this particular soldier, he was there when Lincoln conspiracy killers were hanged on back during the Civil War time. So I'm going to read that to you, um, and then we'll go from there. And this is first of all, I'll show you what he looks like. Um, Let me show you what he looks like. Where's the string? But let me see if I can get to it. See if it comes up here. Are you? A little on. Can't see that one. Okay, let's do this one. Can everybody see that? It's not. I'll have to. Let me stop sharing this screen. Let me show you the face of him. Facebook. Okay, this is the guy I'm going to be talking about. His name is William Coxshall. He lost the pinky finger. This is his pinky finger. He was there during the drop down of the conspirators who were being hanged. He would move the bodies from the area. But this is his history, his story. But where that is. So stop that screen and which place go back to this. No, where was it? Where was it? Richmond. Ah, there it is. Okay. Share. Okay, this is his story. How he started out. Okay. Okay, to it. Where are you? All right. Richmond, Virginia. It's on page 7. And it's also from the Planet newspaper, Saturday, July 22nd, 1916. Man who sent Lincoln conspiracy to death tells story of execution. William Coxshall, who sprung the trap at the penitentiary here, gives details of the event would not have volunteered. Beaver Dam, Wisconsin, July 15th. Living in Beaver Dam today is a man who not only knew and saw those conspirators who died upon the scaffold of the murder of President Lincoln, but who played a part in the drama of which they were the central figure. It was he who participated in their execution, who saw them led forth to their doom in the old arsenal at Washington, who sprung the trap that shot Mrs. Scarrett and Louis Payne to their death 51 years yesterday. Now, William Coxshall was 22 years old, and at the time of the execution, a farmer boy of East Troy, Wisconsin. He first enlisted in September 30th, 1861, served 9 months with the Company 1, Company I, the 13th Wisconsin Volunteer Infantry, and was discharged for disability. He returned to his home in North, and but for a chance would not have played the part allot him on the Memorial July Day 3 years later. It was March 4th, 1864, that he was working in the yard of his home when a neighbor's boy, a chum of Cox, stopped on his way to East Troy, sending to Washington. The town they went in together, they enlist the Company K, 37th Involuntary Infantry, Wisconsin. 3 days later, they were before St. Petersburg. In that campaign, Coxshall was put to work at the mining operation by which it was hoped to carry in fortification. He saw his charm fall dead beside him. His chum fall dead beside him. His head bored with a bullet. Then came the famous morning charge, with explosion of the mine and huddling of the Federal forces into the huge hole left by it. Now, Coxshall lost the forefinger of his left hand. Infection set in, gangrene threatened, and Coxshall was ordered to the hospital. Then it came to a furlough, and after that, he was transferred to Company F of the Veteran Reserve Corps at Washington. There he was serving when the tragic event of the fate of April 14th transpired. President Lincoln was shot by Booth at 10:15 o'clock in his box at Ford's Theater while watching a performance of American Cousin, presented by Laura Keene. Now, company Spangler, Booth, Val, uh, uh, Violet. Oh shit, can't talk. People who watches their horses back then, same thing as cars, assisted in his master escape from the building. Harold accompanied him on his 11th day flight in the swamps and woods surrounding. When the two finally were brought to bay in the barn where Booth was shot by Sergeant Boston Corbick. It continues. Now, attack on Seward. Louis Payne, who accompanied Booth to the theater on that night of the assassination, left him as he entered a place. Payne went to the home of Secretary William H. Seward, stabbed him as he laid in bed, escaped after hand-to-hand conflict with a member of the household. He was arrested later at Scarrett's home, where they lived. Asrod had been delegated to kill Vice President Andrew Johnson, but failed to get near him. But what the hell? Hold on. Hello. It works somewhat, but yeah. So, sorry about that. So, but failed to get near him, though he went so far as gather to his weapons for the deed. John Scarrett had been assigned to the death of General Ulysses S. Grant. He fled from Washington before he murdered Lincoln and was not found until he was taken in Europe long after the popular feeling abrupt. Now, Miss Garrett, the mother of John Scarrett, furnished the meeting place for the conspirators, was genuine of their own scheme, and took food to clothing to Scarrettville. Outside Washington, D.C., for Booth and Harold, after their flight, excitement reigned supreme. Following the murder of Lincoln, suspect was picked up on all sides. Many were questioned and released. Many were held. One by one, the participants in the conspiracy were all arrested, with the exception of Scarrett, the fugitive, a military commission, of which General Lee Wallace, author of Ben-Hur, was a member, sat in judgment. The trial commenced May 13th. The finding was made on June 29th and transmitted to the President, Andrew Johnson. On July 6th, an order of approval of finding and sentencing was issued by the War Department with presidential orders. Now, Station Penitentiary. Now, meantime, Coxshall had been stationed near the old penitentiary at Washington, used as an arsenal during the war, where the conspirators were confined as they were brought in. Now, General Hancock was in charge of the arsenal, while General Hartfront had been assigned a special provost marshal general for purpose of the trial. Attendance upon the commission and the execution of its order, Colonel Christian was appointed his assistant and directed supervision of the execution. Members of the Invalid Corps were placed on guard duty at the arsenal. From 100 to 120 men reported each morning for duty and were given their orders. The work offered little relief from anything, and the way of excitement was eager. Welcome. So it was when July 6th dawned. Of course, on that day, we of the Corps were ignorant of the findings of the commission. Mr. Coxshall said in relating his experience in his part of the execution of the conspiracy. Colonel Rath came in where we here were assembled. I went 4 able bodies men to volunteer for special duty. He said 9 of us waited to hear what the duty was. We eager for anything to vary of the routine. Plenty of volunteers stepped forward. He looked us over and picked out several. I was among them. We followed him into the yard of the arsenal, and there we had the first hint of what we were to do. The gallows was standing ready for the execution. The day of the execution, next day, we were called out early, for we had been released from all other duties on those occasions. Now, all were in our places some time before the hour set for the execution. It was planned that it should take place near 2 o'clock, and the circumstance would permit. As a matter of fact, it was delayed for some time through the non-appearance of General Hancock, whose presence was necessary. As soon as we were in place, flags were run up. The soldiers about the walls stood at attention. A little gate behind the scaffold opened, and the command appeared. Miss Garrett came first, dressed in black and heavy veil. Two priests supported her, for she struggled from side to side and required their aid at every step. Soldiers followed, and then come Azra. And this minister, he wore a long white nightcap on his head and would have been ridiculous under a different circumstance. Harold and his mistress followed, the last of all Payne. A quarter of soldiers guarded each of them. With exception of Payne, all were on the verge of collapse. They had to walk beside the open graves in order to reach the gallows step, and they could gaze down into the holes and touch the rude pane boxes. That's where to be their coffins. The sight of possibility aid in their underdoing, but Payne was as solid as though he were a spectator. He wore a small straw hat which he had taken from one of the officers and keep it on till the death cap was replaced on his head. The command were led up to the stairs, and their Colonel Rath sat them in an armchair. Miss Sterrett was placed at the right with Payne next to her. Then came Harold and Azra. Both Miss Sterrett and Payne stood on the drop I pulled. Umbrellas were held under Miss Sterrett's head and above General Hartgrove, I think that's how it said, who read the warrants of the finding. I could hear his voice from my position and could distinguish some of the conversation. I heard Miss Garrett's last word as the soldier fastened Miss Garrett. She complained of the bonds. It hurts, she said. It won't hurt long. One of the soldiers answered. The nooses were finally adjusted, and everything was in readiness. Payne stepped forward before they fastened his legs until he stood at the very front edge of the drop, above me. The other three barely passed the breaking line until they were forced to do so. Now, Miss Sterrett had to be pushed on, and even then stood far back. Now, Colonel Roth came down the steps and took his place in front of the scaffold where we could see him. I and my companions were at our post. At the end of the timber, all was ready. The colonel raised his hands 3 times. He brought them together in a noiseless hand clap. At the third clap, swaying against the supports with all our might. Dead in 20 minutes. The drops fell. 3 of the bodies shot straight down. The Sterrett, who had barely stepped beyond the break, lurched forward, slid off, and fell on her body, gathering the momentum. The moment when swinging to and fro at the end of the rope like a pendulum. 20 minutes later, Major Porter, the presiding surgeon, pronounced the quarters dead. 10 minutes after that, detail cut down. The bodies were buried. They buried them. We have known what it was we were to do that day, we volunteered. None of us would have stepped forward, but once we entered the tasks, there were no withdrawing. We were soldiers, and such things were a part of a soldier's duty during the fearful days that surround the assassination of Abraham Lincoln. Let's see here. What's this one? So that's what William Coxshall did that day. And he was standing at the post where I showed you at the beginning here. So he saw everything and volunteered. He didn't know what he volunteered for, but there you go. He was the most famous person who stood underneath that pole. And like I said, this is the guy. Let's see here. Yeah, this is this person here, right here. This is that guy, and I'll show you a better one here on Facebook. That was him right there. That's him standing right there. So he was holding on that. 4 other people was holding. You can see those other soldiers standing. But that's what he was holding right there. So, and his finger is missing. So that's what it was. William Coxshall was most famous on that day. He was, like he said, he was a soldier. They had to do what a soldier has to do if you get called back to duty. There you are. Well, there's the history. I hope you all like it, and I'll talk to you guys all later.